And it is an incredible gift that our kids get to know their grandparents. They get to have a relationship. They get to understand that just because people are aging, it doesn't mean they have less value.
Do you miss having time for Jesus and yourself, but you're drowning in the responsibilities of motherhood? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Cheryl, wife, girl mom, and Jesus follower. I learned the not-so-secret ways to become the mom my girls needed by prioritizing Jesus back into my mom life and reclaiming my identity in Christ. If you're ready to build faith while washing dishes, rediscover your identity, and love yourself like your babies do, grab your earbuds and lock that bathroom door for a minute alone. It's time for Mom.
Hi, beautiful. Welcome to the Time for Mom podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl. In honor of Mother's Day, I'm going to be talking a little bit about living with your parents and grandparents and some of the benefits that have come from it. But before I dive into that, I wanted to let you know that if you are not subscribed to the Time for Mom Substack, you should be, because if you subscribe, you're going to be getting a free devotion every Monday. You can download the collection of 5 devotions that I wrote for busy moms, and you will also have access to the live monthly chat that I do at the end of the month. So please go down to the show notes, subscribe, or just head to bit.ly, Time for Mom subscribe. All right, let's dive in. So when I was little, my parents ended up moving towns, and we stayed with my grandma. It was only supposed to be for 4 months, and it turned into 4 years of us living with my grandma. That was between the ages of 4 and 8, so, fairly formative years for me. And I remember just being with my grandma, playing on her place, and watching I Dream of Jeannie and the Beverly Hillbillies on my grandma's bunny ear TV set when I thought our parents weren't going to come home and catch us and getting in trouble for that. I remember coming up the stairs in the middle of the night and my grandma giving me a cup of milk that is supposed to help you sleep. And it was amazing. And after my parents found a home, we still went to see my grandma. I think it was like once a week or once every other week. We would spend the day with her. And I loved it. I may not have loved it as much at the time as I do now. My grandma, unfortunately, has passed away. But there are so many things that I learned with her. I learned about life that I value now that I didn't then. She taught me. So my mom loves plants, but it was because of that time spent with my grandma that I actually value so many of the flowers that I do. I remember sitting in her sewing room with her and picking needles out of the carpet. I remember reading over her shoulder and trying to correct her spelling. I remember playing cards with her, like hand and foot or dominoes. Oh gosh, we played chicken foot so much. Or Mexican train, and getting to spend that time with my grandma was some of the best childhood memories that I could ask for. They were a treasure. We cooked, we canned, we sewed, we played, we got water, we went shopping for discount plants. We did all of the things. My grandma dropped us off at the fairgrounds at 6 a.m. because, this was 20 years ago. And we got in before the ticket clerk was there, and we spent all day at the county fair. There was so many amazing memories from just that time with my grandma. And I know not a lot of people might have that, but if you do, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. And if you don't, I hope that you had somebody step into that role of grandparent and take you under their wing, because it's such a gift. Now, when I married my husband, I absolutely wanted to make it on our own. But God had other ideas. You see, after only a few years of marriage, God told my husband and I separately that we were supposed to move into my parents' new home. They had purchased a home up where we were to retire and had asked us to live in it. And I was like, heck no, I ain't doing that. I don't want to live with my parents, even if they're not living there. But God had other plans, so we did. And I may have been kicking and screaming and had a rather brutally honest conversation with my best friend, Ellie. Best friends are awesome for that, right? They know when to slap you in the face and when to give you a hug, and she knew that I needed a slap in the face. I didn't want my parents' help in life. I was the last of my siblings to not have gotten any help from them, and I wanted it to stay that way because, pride. But here we are, 6 years later, 7 years technically, and I still live with my parents, with my husband, and now two children. We started out with none, and we still live with my parents. We get to see my mom and my dad every day. Our kids, when they're not sick, get to see my parents, their grandparents, every day. And it is an incredible gift that our kids get to know their grandparents. They get to experience knowledge and the love of things that they wouldn't have if we weren't here. They get to have a relationship. They get to understand that just because people are aging doesn't mean they have less value. They do. And not that my parents are old, because they're not, but they are older than us. And it's really easy to just cast people aside when they become elderly in the world's eyes. Not like I said, my parents aren't elderly. I don't count them as elderly. But it's really easy to just cast them aside and discount their value. And I am so thankful that my kids get to experience what it's like to have grandparents with them every day. The second thing that I wanted to call out is that having a community is so important. And if you're living in a multi-generational household like we have, you have built-in community. And it also takes a lot of communication to keep that community healthy. But a community is so necessary in this life. If you don't think it is, just look at the lack of relationships and how depressed our society is. It is super, super, super important. Now, I used to work for a church, and I would see people who have no family, no support, no friends, and absolutely no one who cared about them come in. And it was heartbreaking because they were so lonely, and they literally had no one who cared whether they lived or died. And if that doesn't break your heart, then you might have a heart of stone. And I don't want that. I don't want to be 50 and have no one in my life who cares whether I'm alive or dead. I want to have that community, and being in a multi-generational home gives me an opportunity to help my parents. It gives my parents an opportunity to help us. It gives my kids an opportunity to help their grandparents, which is super cool. The third thing that I wanted to call out is how much age is a gift. Like, it might be hard, but it's still a gift. Getting to benefit from the knowledge and experience of my parents. My children are getting such a gift. And my parents, they might be getting older, but they're also getting to see their granddaughters get older and grow up and go from babies to rather strong-willed individuals. And it's a gift. And getting to be like, okay, you know what? You've got that question. I don't know the most about that. Let's go ask grandma and let's see what she has to say. Or I haven't tackled canning yet. It's one of the things I want to learn, and being like, okay, come here, big girl. Let's go ask grandma how to do this. And getting to benefit from that knowledge in a here and now, face to face, in person, is an incredible, incredible gift. The last thing that I want to point out is that, well, if you listen to my opening story, you know how much my time with my grandma formed me. And the memories that I have from living with my grandma and visiting her are ones that I will forever cherish. And I hope and pray that by living with my parents, that my kids are going to be able to look back on this time and realize what a gift it is, that it will help shape them into theoretically responsible people with great character and a love for God. That is my hope anyway. And maybe you don't have a parent or a grandparent in your life, but I'm willing to bet that you do have someone who has filled that role at some point. Whoever those people are in your life, please call them, text them, video chat, pretend it's 2018 and maybe visit them in person, especially if you're like 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours away. Life is too precious to leave things unsaid. Life is fleeting. Don't live with the regret of never telling somebody thank you who made a big impact on your life, because you will regret it. So in this day, or in this week where we are preparing for Mother's Day and honoring moms and grandmas and mother figures and mentors, I would just ask that you reach out to one of the people, one of the women who have helped form you into the person that you are, who may have mentored you and made an impact on your life. And don't forget that if you want another devotion, you want the free devotion download and the live video chat, to go down to the bottom of the show notes and subscribe. Until next week, mamas, remember those relationships and the gift that they are or were, and that you have an incredible Mother's Day. Love, Cheryl.
Hey, beautiful. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this with a mom who is wading through those mounds of laundry and dishes and wishing for just a little me time? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It makes my day to know this podcast has helped you. Well, it's time for me to wash more dishes and cook more food. I'll meet you next Wednesday for another episode. Until then, may the God of grace fill you with his peace. Bye.